Hey everybody, Jane here, and today I am reviewing Two Little Girls in Blue by Mary Higgins Clark. I have read a couple other Mary Higgins Clark. This was good. It was probably my favorite of the Mary Higgins Clarks I've read so far. It is also one of the more recent ones, so I will say my complaint about some of the other ones that I've read is they didn't age particularly well. This one doesn't seem to have that issue. So this is about Cathy and Kelly, who are twins, identical twins, and they are 3. They have just finished their 3rd birthday party, and their parents have gone out for the night, leaving them in the care of the babysitter. The house is then broken into, the babysitter is chloroformed, gagged, and tied up, and the children are stolen. A note comes asking for ransom. The ransom is paid. However, only one child is returned, and there is a note saying that the other child was accidentally killed. However, the little girl that comes back, I want to say it's Cathy. Let me check. Kelly. I was wrong. Kelly is the one that's returned. Kelly keeps, she and her twin have a telepathic connection, and she keeps insisting that her twin is alive and this is what's going on with her twin. And so after a while, the parents realize that maybe they need to believe her, and the majority of the book then at that point is spent trying to figure out where she is and rescuing her. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. I loved the telepathic twin part of it. I am fascinated by books with twins because I have twins. Now, my twins are fraternal, and they do not have any telepathic abilities between them. They did not do the twin speak or a lot of the things that can be really cool phenomenons with twins. My twins didn't do that, but I'm fascinated by twins that do. So I really enjoyed the twin aspect, the telepathy. This is very much a thriller. You're trying to figure out what happened. I read this one in one setting, and it's not a tiny book. So I did really enjoy it. It kept me going. It kept me turning pages. I was there for this book. I was excited to see what happened. The stakes were high, obviously, the life of this little girl. And one thing that I don't feel like is a huge spoiler, the little girl that is missing still, her life is in danger. She is not just wandering off, potentially, being wherever and we have a million years to find her. No, her life is in danger. So this is great as far as the stakes being really high and it being very interesting. Now, despite me loving the twin thing and having a really good time reading it, it being a page turner, everything like that, and really liking the plot. I loved the plot. There were a couple things that I didn't love about this book. So one thing I didn't love is, especially near the end, certain things just happen, and it's one of those, it was eye-rolly. Just one of those, like, one particular thing at the end, it's one of those, they would all be dead, except that this one crazy stupid thing happened. And I hate when they do that. It's like, give me a real reason. Don't just basically be like, throw people off a cliff and be like, but there was a ledge beneath that nobody knew about. And that's not exactly what happens, but it's kind of the same idea. So I don't love that. Also, as you're trying, one of the things we don't know throughout this book, because there's an element of mystery, we know who actually kidnapped the children because we see the person that Cathy is with and what's happening with her. We see the kidnapping and know who the actual kidnappers were. However, somebody else was behind the actual kidnapping and orchestrated a lot of the things, and throughout the whole book you're waiting to find out who that was. I didn't necessarily love the reveal on that, but even more so, I really didn't like, there are basically 4 suspects, and you end up with almost 4 little mystery subplots as to, okay, this person is not the the Pied Piper, that's the person who orchestrated. This person is not the Pied Piper, but this is what was really going on with them. And I felt like that kind of distracted a little bit from the story, especially because we get points of view on those characters, including in one in particular a way that it is really trying to convince us that he is the Pied Piper. Because I was reading it and I'm like, oh, I really don't like that. That is the person of all of them that I am most upset about being the Pied Piper and more problematic being the Pied Piper. And then he wasn't the Pied Piper, but I had thought he was because of the way the thing was written. And I didn't love that. I really had an issue with that. I could have done this whole book without those things and it would have been stronger. You know, it's fine to have somebody investigating it. I didn't need to know what those in detail what those people were really into. Like a sentence would have been fine. And like I said, I wasn't real thrilled with how things turned out with who the Pied Piper was. He's not a huge part of the story. Again, that's more of a subplot. It's mostly who do we find the kids, because the Pied Piper does not have the kids. Basically, there are the people that kidnapped the children. One of them is a woman who cannot have children, and she steals Cathy. And I don't think that's a huge spoiler. But she steals Cathy and kind of is taking her to raise as her own. But she's not a very fit, good, decent parent, just being honest. So I liked that idea and that story and that thing, but the Pied Piper kind of, at times, the search for who the Pied Piper is, took over the story a little bit. And I didn't love that. I didn't love the reveals on that or the red herrings and all the expectations looking into that when we're not even... The Pied Piper has nothing to do with the main plot line, really, of who has Cathy. Another thing that is a smallish complaint, but that I've noticed, it occurred in this and it occurred in Where Are the Children, and I complained about it in Where Are the Children, so I'm going to complain about it in this too. And that is the bad guy being overweight and noted as being like fat and sweaty and, you know, all these things in the bad guy. And it was done a little better in this one than in Where Are the Children, but I still found it a little bit offensive that our bad guys are fat and disgusting. And, you know, again, being somebody who's overweight, I guess I'm a little picky is not the right word. I find it offensive when we get into how disgusting overweight and fat people are. And, you know, I don't care that our bad guys are fat. That's fine. And in this, I will give her props. In this, there's a little bit of a reason that it makes sense that we comment on the fact that, you know, our bad guy is fat and sweaty and disgusting. Whereas I didn't see a real point in that in Where Are the Children. But the parallel between those things, when we started doing that in this, I was like, oh, we're doing this again, huh? The bad guy is fat and sweaty. Not the Pied Piper. This is the bad guy. We already know who it is. But they're fat and sweaty and terrible because of that. So the obesity rep in this, again, a little bit frustrating. Not as bad as in Where Are the Children, but I did notice the parallel, and I was kind of like, oh, we're doing this again. The other thing that we did in Where Are the Children that we're doing again in this one is so many people have clues, and so many people don't bring them forth because of stupid reasons. So people are like, huh, that was a weird coinky-dink. I should probably say something. Nah. You know, they might say something to somebody else and they're like, oh no, the police don't need to know that. They'll just think that you're clogging up their tip line. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it was frustrating in Where Are the Children, and it was equally frustrating in this one. It's like, all these people have these clues as to what's going on and who has the kid, and it's not that they're bringing it to the police and the police are having trouble putting them together, because they're not great clues necessarily, but it's also that they're, for whatever reason, not taking them to the police. And it's not good reasons like, I'm a criminal and I want to hide my criminal behavior. It's things that are like, oh, I'm pretty sure I saw the little kidnapped girl. But then, somebody else probably reported it, or the police may not listen to me, or whatever. And it was like, I just, I didn't love that in Where Are the Children? And they did the same thing where it's like, so many people have clues and they take forever to take it to the police. And this is the same here. We have so many people with clues and it just kind of draws it out. But, okay, so those are my complaints. But overall, if you like Mary Higgins Clark, I would say this was a good one. If you like thrillers, this was a good one. And of the 3 that I've read so far, and I know for a fact one was Where Are the Children? I'm not sure what the other one was because it was a while ago. This one is probably, of the 3 I've read, the best. So if you are starting on Mary Higgins Clark, this is not a bad entry point. This is a good, solid book. It's a fairly more recent one, so I think it's a little more accessible to a modern reader than like Where Are the Children, which I didn't think aged well. So those are my thoughts on Two Little Girls in Blue by Mary Higgins Clark. If you've read this, did you enjoy it? What is your favorite Mary Higgins Clark? And what Mary Higgins Clark should I read next? All right, guys, all the usual. Please like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. My contact information is below. Also, I am a novelist. I write romance. My books are available pretty much everywhere. Some are on Kindle Unlimited if you have that program and would like to read for free. I'm also on Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, Overdrive, Kobo, Audible, books everywhere. So under Jane B. Knight as what you'll find most of my books under. I do have some under just Jane Knight, which are my more technical books, things about ghostwriting and writing mostly nonfiction. All of my fiction stuff, my romance, is going to be under the Jane B. Knight. All right, guys, this is Jane. See you next time. Bye.